People who got married after knowing their partner for 12 months or less. How are you doing now? My parents got married as soon after meeting. Mom was a waitress in a truck stop diner, and my dad was with friends and jokingly asked her to marry him. A few weeks of dating, and then he actually did propose for real. They celebrated 52 years last December, with 2 kids and 9 grandkids. Met on 1993, married April 1994, still very happily married 23.5 years later. He proposed after 2 weeks. I said no. Finally said yes after 10 months of him asking. Married 29 years. He's my best friend and my sweetie and my sexy man. Honestly, I was the one who picked him up. Haha. He was supposed to be a one-night stand. Ugh. I hate it when one-night stands get too clingy and the next thing you know you're planning a 30th wedding anniversary party. Seriously though, congrats. A friend of mine married a stripper he knew for about 3 months. We told him it was a mistake. Their first child just turned 21 and they are still together. We are doing very well, married 12 years. More in love than ever. The sex just keeps getting better too. Healthy marriage takes a shit ton of work to grow and maintain no matter how long you know the other person ahead of time. Luckily we are both committed to giving 100% into our relationship. Note, not 50-50. That's important. Just ending year 4. Should have ended on year 1. We are happily married. Met in our 30s while we were both financially stable. And it's worked so far. He's my best friend. ... However, a few things. I think it's silly to pretend that we are immune from divorce. Maybe when you've been happily married for 30 years you can safely say that. But for most people, divorce is possible, probable, even. Next, I do not regret my marriage at all, but wouldn't advise marrying so quickly to people, age depending. We were older, and that can reasonably speed up the timeline. There is a sweet spot. Too soon is risky, but too long implies feet dragging or uncertainty. Finally, I can say after years of marriage that the problems you start with remain. Think long and hard about if you are okay with your partner as they are, not hoping that they will change in any way. He proposed on our second date. We were together 17 years. He died in my arms of primary pulmonary hypertension and sarcoidosis. Miss him terribly. Wasn't always a perfect relationship. And pulmonary issues can make people very mean. Had to let a lot go. But it was an honor to love him, and to hold him till his last breath. I can answer for my parents. They met in June, married in May. We celebrated their 25th anniversary last year. I'm so stupid. I sat here thinking how they met in June but got married the month before. My mother said she knew my father was the one when she opened the door and saw him for the very first time. She proposed to him on the 3rd date and they were married shortly after that. It's been close to 30 years now and they still hold hands at the dinner table and slow dance whenever there's music playing. 15th anniversary last week. Parents met, dated, got engaged and married within 4 months. 30 years and counting. Mind you, I personally think their relationship is a bit unhealthy, nothing major, but I personally would have gotten a divorce if I were them, a long time ago. Just because a relationship lasts, doesn't necessarily mean it's a great one. My parents got married after knowing each for 3 months. Their 25th anniversary is coming up and they're still in love. My aunt met her husband-uncle at an airport. They were going different ways. Exchanged numbers. Talked a lot for 2 weeks. Met her parents after week 2 to ask for her hand in marriage. Married week 3. She met his parents 2 years later, different continents. Mill never liked her until years later when she had cancer and my aunt was the only person who left her own family to look after her for months. The attitude towards her finally changed. 30 years and 2 children later, and are still in love. Saying how long you have been married doesn't tell us how you are doing. Plenty of lifeless marriages out there. We dated for less than a year, including one 3-month break, before my girlfriend got pregnant. We've been married for 20 years this December, which just ended. Wait, just ended meaning the marriage? Or the month? Yes, the December which just ended. She's right across the room from me harassing our son. You're going to get an overrepresentation of people who are happy. I was married after a very short engagement. And we are divorced. We should not have been married. She's a great person, but we had not transitioned from the chemical "I love everything about you" stage to the more honest intimacy and friendship once that wears off to really understand we were not compatible. For example, we could not resolve conflict in a healthy and productive way. Getting married before that second stage is a gamble. Don't do it. Married for 19 years this year. I think I love him even more today than I did the day we got married. Met in May. Married in July. My best friend and soulmate. I'm convinced that we knew each other in another life. Because from the first moment we made eye contact, it just felt like home. My partner and I haven't gotten married yet, but we did decide to have a kid after 3 months. I don't recommend it to anyone. It's a colossally stupid idea, but it damn sure worked out for us. The kid is now almost 2. We're getting married in September, and I've never been happier. Met in March, married in the August, been married 12 years now. Has its up and downs like everything, but it's all good. Not myself, but my best friend's parents got married after knowing each other for 6 weeks. I believe this year is their 39th or 40th anniversary. Great. Married 20 years, October 2018. Going on 7 years of perpetual annoyance. Met her on 9, married her 10 months later. This year will be 45 happy years together. We met in May. Married in April. We get along better than ever and we'll celebrate 5 years this year. Let me be a Debbie Downer. My parents got engaged 2 weeks after meeting. Had their wedding a year later. Had a miserable marriage and finally divorced after 25 years. Please get to know your partner first. Kids. It could ruin your life if you don't. First date April 8th. I asked her to marry me May 8th. Got married July 8th. All in the same year. We have been married 44 years. My wife and I started dating in July 2014, married in September 2016, but we were engaged 6 months into our relationship. We have a house and a puppy, but I can't shake this feeling that I made the wrong choice. Sadly, she wants kids like yesterday while I don't want kids for a few more years, which makes me the bad guy. I try really hard to make things work for us, but I'm burnt out putting 100% effort into it only to get like 25% back. I know she has anxiety and depression, but she only takes meds and doesn't combat it any other way. It seems like I do everything for the house, the puppy, and she sits on the couch on her phone. I try to engage her in activities with friends or stuff around the house or date nights, though nothing is ever good enough. Maybe I should file for divorce. Do not have children. Not yet. At any cost. If she tries to pressure you into children by saying it would change things, I would leave. It will not change things. Met in September. Found out she was pregnant after her spending many years thinking she couldn't get pregnant in October, right around Halloween. Moved in together in November. Proposed to her in December. Married in February. Had our son in June on Father's Day. It'll be our 8th anniversary this February. So met, married, and had our first child in less than 10 months. Still blissfully happy. And no, we were always meant to be together. Oh, and we weren't some young kids. I was 28. She was 31 when we met. Met in July. Engaged in November. Married in May. 40 years down. Forever to go. Doing better than ever. My parents dated for 2 months and got married. They are the best couple I've ever seen and have been together for over 22 years. Knew each other for 6 months. Dated for 3 months. Married for 47 years and still going strong. Got married 12 months to the day, just a few hours shy of a full year. We celebrated our 3-year wedding anniversary back in November. I got to marry my best friend. I am the luckiest guy the first know. Married after 10 months. We celebrate our 20-year anniversary in 2 days. We went on 3 dates before we started talking about marriage. We were engaged 2 weeks later and were married 6 months after our first date. We've been married for almost 7 years and doing great. Posted this the last time it was asked but cannot say it enough. Met March 11th on a blind date. Proposed April 11th. Married October 15th. All in 1977. Just celebrated 40 years of marriage. Some rough spots but otherwise going fine. 2 grown kids. 4 grandchildren. Happy life. I found out she was cheating 6 months in. Got divorced and life is good again. We knew each other 8 months before we got married, and it lasted 18 years. This proved we wanted to be together, but in the end I saw flaws in him that I could have only come to realize as I matured myself. My mother dated a man for 9 days and got married 3 years ago. It is the best thing that ever happened to her. For the first time in my life, she isn't a serious emotional drain. We met in April of '95. I proposed after 3 months. We married in December of that year. Married now 22 years. We're best friends as much as husband and wife. I couldn't be happier. She balances my ADHD with a steady hand. We have a lot of things we like. Book collecting and British comedy. And we have differences. She loves murder mysteries and ghost stories and I love sports. It's been an amazing 2 decades. From being too poor to afford the $40 for the marriage license, to paying for 3 daughters in college without financial aid. We tell everyone we're one soul in 2 bodies and that's the truth. Engaged after 6 months. Married within the year. We are doing well. We'll be celebrating 5 years this year. We just clicked immediately and it felt like a no-brainer. We have our usual arguments from time to time but that's normal. We always make up and we're good to go. I asked her out on 1989, married Friday, October 13th that same year. 29 years, 6 kids and we are still together. It hasn't been easy and we have had a lot of ups and downs. Currently down but it will go up again. Marriage isn't easy.